Hey folks, today I was inspired by Epic World's PCG recently making another tier ranking for me to do another tier ranking. Now I've done a tier ranking video before on this channel. I was ranking all the paper computer games I could think of, but there's other stuff besides PCG, so why don't we rank, I thought, all of the PCG short movies, the short films, the whatever you want to call them. Yeah, so let's do it. Okay, so here we are. Here we have it. We've got all of our PCG short films. You know how this works. Basically, the higher the tier, the better. S tier is the best. D tier is the worst. So we're gonna start with these. I'm gonna sort of start like in roughly chronological order. I'm gonna start with some of the earlier PCG shorts that have been made and go into ones more made by anyone else in the community. So My Robot Tutor School Bot from the Second Dimension by Kurt. I was in it as a character. I had a ton of fun with this freaking masterpiece on Kurt's part. This might be me because I know like not everyone who's seen it like has the same reaction. Like other people have found it's not like Kurt's strongest movie, but I still think it's freaking genius. I'm gonna give this S tier. Now here's another one like Spaceballs by me. So this one once again is another one based on, you know, the mythology of the Spaceballs paper computer games. So like, but this one is like actually a direct adaptation of like what actually happens in the original Spaceballs paper computer game.
Who am I and where am I? I'm trapped here in this cell.
I had fun making it. I thought it was pretty good for what it tried to do at the time, but you know, right now it is really, really dated. It doesn't like add pretty much anything else. The audio quality is bad. It's kind of hard to watch for today. That being said, I love it for what it was, but you know, I think I'm gonna give this one a C tier. I think I'm gonna have to give that one a C tier. No disrespect to this movie. It has a wonderful place in history. I just, you know, like of the movies on this list, it definitely is not, you know, the strongest one. So this one though, like also by me, this is The Structure. This is an original movie. This is like, you know, I used some random app. I don't even know if I don't think it even exists anymore, but I used it to make this whole dialogue between two like robot characters.
Did not enter the structure. I shall attempt to enter despite your objections. Use. You have now been deactivated. Goog, save game.
It's like sort of CG animated. And, you know, it didn't take a ton of skill to make or anything. It was super easy. Well, not super easy. It was time consuming, but I thought this one was a lot of fun. I really, really like the point of it. And it ultimately, like, originally it was sort of hard to understand, but I made a remake that, or like, not a remake, a remastered version that's easier to understand, so I think that makes it a lot better. I think this is a solid movie. I like that it adds to the PCG mythos, but also the main point of it is it's sort of just like a skit kind of to convey what it's like to play a paper computer game. So yeah, I think this one is really solid for one of my early PCG movies. I'm gonna give it, I guess A tier. Next up we got Caramel Greed. Caramel Greed is a cartoon I was making painstakingly by like drawing each frame in Microsoft Paint. It ended up being abandoned for years, but man, oh man, this was quite the story. I ended up not getting too far in it. More recently, I just like released it, kind of like I found it and like gave it some polish, gave it some update, and finished it. So it's at least a coherent story, even if it's very, very short. I like that it's like, you know, once again, this is an original story. It carries on the idea of Charles Mystery Stories. And it's sort of like a fun beginning to a story, but in and of itself is, you know, not that strong of a story, like, altogether. Like, just because, like, not a lot was done with it. Like, it wasn't developed as far as it could have been. For what it is, I think it's really solid. But, you know, like, it's not as good as The Structure, because The Structure is a complete story and it really has a point to it, whereas Caramel Greed is just kind of like a random cartoon, and it's short, doesn't really, you know, It's just like the start of a story, so I'm gonna give it B tier. All right, now we're sort of getting more into the more modern era. So the first one of my modern PCG movies is this one, My Robot Tutor Schoolbot from the Third Dimension, The Return. So this is a sequel to Kurt's game, My Robot Tutor Schoolbot from the Second Dimension. I went further with it. I had a lot of fun with graphics. I made this all myself. I had to go outside of my house to film it.
10 years have passed since the robot, my friend, changed my life.
Find the solution. Solve the problem.
I'm getting it.
You're the best teacher ever, Tutorial Bot.
10 years since he left. The numbers have grown stronger. Each year they're bolder than the last.
You know, I was driving around, I was doing all sorts of crazy stuff. I even did a real calculus problem in the filming of this movie. So I had a lot of fun with this. I think it's a classic. It is a little bit dated today. Like, so this is sort of like from the start of my, current YouTube channel. So I feel it's really, really solid though. I'm not going to give it S tier like My Robot Tutorbot from the Second Dimension. I'm just going to give it the top of A tier. I think it's a really, really solid movie, but it has, some work to do to match that. Next is this one, What If Save Game Really Existed? This is a really strong concept. I really like, what I did with this one. Once again, this is sort of from an early era in my channel.
Save game. Save game.
This one is very simple and straightforward. Every scene is very purposeful. It's very it's a really good idea. It really well executed, and I had a lot of fun with it. Sure, it is still a little bit dated, like the audio quality isn't the greatest and all stuff like that, but overall I think this is a really, really solid skit. I think I'm gonna give this S tier. But alright, now we're getting, most of this stuff has been done by me, one of them by Kurt, but I think we're starting to get into some stuff that's been made by other people. So here's where stuff gets fun. Okay, so first up we've got EG. I'm counting this as the whole series, Evil and Good, or EG, by Salmon the Fish PCG. This is a really, really strong series. This is really cool. It has sort of an anime kind of style. It's really dramatic and.
I am Maniac, and if you're wondering, I am the one who sent you here. You are all now my test subjects, and will obey my command.
Hey, why should we believe you?
Powerful and sets up a really interesting world. There's a couple episodes of it. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell a complete story. It's the beginning of what would be an epic anime story. But for what it is, the parts of it that exist is really, really good. It sets up an interesting world, and I think this is a really, really strong entry here. So I'm gonna have to give this series. I'm gonna have to put this S tier. In fact, I might have to put it above What If Save Game Really Existed. Yeah, I think that's really well done. I think I might have to put it above that. Next up, we have Baseballs, the Lego animated movie by JPGS, now known as Krillin. Now, this is a freaking epic, Lego stop motion, dang, really, really well done, really dramatic movie.
I'm here. What was the plan? Did you not hear him? Oh, sorry, Zuvak. What was the plan, Killbot?
Yeah, I think it's really strong. It tells an engaging story. There are some parts where it was sort of hard to tell what's going on, but it's sort of very loosely based on the mythos of the Spaceballs paper computer games, but takes it in a totally original direction, which I think is cool. I really like it when an adaptation of PCG's, does something totally fresh and new, and yeah, so it's, you know, based on PCGs, but does its own thing. So it's really, really cool for that reason. But it is also sort of hard to understand what's going on in parts. So for that reason, I'm going to give it bottom of A tier, I think. Really solid movie. Let's go on to Zuvak, a short by Via. If I remember correctly, this is the one that sort of tells the story of when Zuvak went evil on planet Shri and how he was brought back. This is sort of like an alternate take on like the story from the games, but it does a good job of like sort of doing an interesting retelling of that story in a super short form. I think this is really well done. I'm gonna put this in A tier. I'm gonna put it above Spaceballs Lego Adventure. Next up we have Zuvak Origins by Angry KP. Now this is really cool. As I've said, I really like when, you know, one of these is inspired by PCGs, but you know, takes it in its own direction, you know, does its own thing with it. And Zuvak Origins is completely that. It's a completely original idea of how Zuvak might have originated.
Hi, I am Zuvak. This origin is about me, so get ready for it.
Where he starts as a human. He starts as a human kid, and then through a series of tragic accidents, he's later turned into Zuvak. That is absolutely nothing like Zuvak's origin in the paper computer games, but that's cool. It's a, you know, a cool alternate, you know, telling of that story. You know, like I think that makes it rich and engaging. The story here is fun. You know, it's interesting. It's you know, it's cool. Makes you want to know more about it. I think it's pretty well done. And I think it's been like parts of it are really funny as well. Like there are parts of it that are kind of like weirdly repetitive, but like for me personally, I just kind of that makes me like it more somehow. I don't know. So I think this is a really solid movie. I'm going to put, it's actually a series as well, you know, this is like a couple episodes. So I think I'm going to have to put this one in a solid A tier. I'm going to put it below the structure, but above Zuvak a short. Zuvak Origins, just really well done. Next we have Zuvak and Tutorial Bot, another one of these Instagram shorts by Via. This is one that tells the story of like Zuvak and Tutorial Bot in the desert. They're about to go through a portal into an alternate universe, and this ties into some of Via's paper computer games, which I think is really cool. You know, this is telling a part of the story we haven't seen before, but that ties into her games. I really like that. Visually, it looks cool. It's super quick, but for what it is, I think it's really well done. I think this gets an A tier. I'm gonna put it above Spaceballs Lego Animation and above Zuvak a short. You know, as Via did these animations, she got better and better at them. So next up we've got the Return of the Perfect One. So the Perfect One is, you know, that's from my dad's PCG comics, the giant version of the fat guy, and this makes it into an epic threat. You know, like Via did a really great job of working with what she had. She had a limited app which clearly was not made to animate a cartoon like this. But she did a great job of like telling a whole story, and it's like an epic story of like, you know, a few well-known PCG characters, Matak, Tutorial Bot, Zuvak, they team up, and they have to, you know, stop the Perfect One from attacking Earth. It's super short, but a super epic story that, you know, like it's the first one that really has that sort of epic feel, like this epic, you know, Team Apex kind of level of epicness of like PCG characters teaming up to fight, you know, common evils. So this one is really solid. I think it's better than Via's like previous games. I'm thinking I'm gonna put it here. Next up we got Memories of a Horse by Via. Memories of a Horse ties into Via's paper computer game, The Ogre and the Princess, and this is one of the ones that really seriously like fleshes out the lore of her series, which is really cool. All of her shorts so far have been just sort of like, here's a quick skit, here's a quick skit. Even the one I just talked about, you know, is epic as it is, it's just like a quick thing that happens and doesn't really have much impact on anything else. But Memories of a Horse is there for the first time to really expand on the lore of one of her characters. So by watching this, you learn more about who that character is, which is something that I think, makes it feel a lot more engaging, and it's really well done. It's sort of emotional.
We don't believe in horses.
Okay,
we ride horses. Because you come from a weird line of liar horses.
Oh. Even though it's very simply made, like, it's still, like, has emotion to it, it has grip, it does good work with the characters. So I'm going to give this one an S tier because really, really well done short. Next up, we've got Smee's Rescue, yet another Lego animated short, this time by Flamespot. Now, Flamespot's done a number of these, but I'm using this one sort of as representative of the series. Especially there was one like fully dedicated short called Smee's Rescue, as well as in his entire OP RPG series, he had a bunch of Lego animated segments in them. It was spread throughout, but for this one, I'm just including Smee's Rescue. Really, really well done. He does great work setting up his scenes. Everything about this is, well planned out, well shot, great use of Lego. Really, really well done. Once again, there are a few parts of it where it was hard at first to understand what was going on. It's not that bad though, and the story it tells is really engaging. This character of Smee, you kind of get to know and like Smee over the course of multiple, videos in Flamespot's series. So this is just like really, really well done. I'm once again going to give this one S tier, especially for like all the the talented work that went into it. Next up, we've got Planet 654 by Salman the Fish PCG. So once again, this is like an awesome concept, but not much was done with it. So like the idea of this is inspired by my PCG Pokemon Stop, in which there's like humans are a type of Pokemon and you can catch them and they just say human, how other Pokemon say like Pikachu or whatever. Salman came up with the idea of like a whole universe where like the entire inhabitants are those human Pokemon, like basically like humans that don't like talk like normal. Instead they just say human. So this short is like set in that universe, but like it's super short, like nothing really happens. There's like one quick moment which is really well done, visually snazzy, and very engaging, and really good, but not a whole lot happens with it. So for that reason, I feel like it's sort of like in a similar category as Caramel Greed. It's solid, it's enjoyable if you watch it, but there's so little of it, it's hard to even engage with. And that's there's even it's even shorter than Caramel Greed. That being said, like I really want to see more of it. Like if this had just been like a little bit longer, like the ending of this just kind of like leaves you hanging and you don't know what's gonna happen, like Caramel Greed. So if it went on longer, like I think I would have given it A tier, but as it is, I think I'm going to have to give it B tier. Sadly, really, really good short, but it just like it ends too quickly. It just ends way too quickly. Next up, we've got Poyencio in Outer Space.
Poyencio in Outer Space.
By Via. This one is actually hand animated by Via. Basically just like moving the figures around on the page, which is really well done. It looks great. She has a great soundtrack to it as well, and it's a sort of like not really much happens, but it's a very fun, joyful, adventurous PCG movie. It really conveys the fun of it's because Via's affection for her character Poyencio comes through here. I think it's it's really well done, looks great. I think this one gets an A tier. I think I'll put it above Zuvak and Tutorial Bot, but below The Perfect One Returns. Next up, we've got Tutorial Bot and the Puzzle, which is an excellent skit by Salman. it really effectively conveys like tutorial bot. Much like Kurt's game, My Robot Tutor School Bot from the Second Dimension, I think it takes a lot of inspiration from that, but in a totally different way. This is just like a random adventurer trying to get help, like get past a puzzle, and tutorial bot trying to help.
So, I'm finally here. Tutorial bot, what shall I do next?
Over here. You must solve this puzzle.
Super representative of what Tutorial Bot is like. Really funny, really engaging, and the animation is, well done visually. I know it's like not hand-drawn or whatever, it's like made from stock images, but like the stock images that were picked just make it look very visually rich and engaging, and I think that is really cool. It's sort of like, even though this is just sort of like a super quick skit, it's sort of like suggestive of like, it feels like this is part of like a bigger world for that reason. I think this was really, really well done. I'm gonna put it, up here, maybe in A tier, between these two VIA games. Next we've got The Figs, The Fig by Salmon the Fish PCG. Once again, this is, made around the time as Tutorial Bot in the puzzle. And it's a similar like skit, just sort of showing who a character from PCG's is.
I'm a sphinx. Solve my riddle, and I've got a secret for you.
Oh, figs don't deserve secrets or riddles.
This time it's about the figs. This is like the first, movie adaptation of, the figs, which are aliens I created. They're the ones who don't think they deserve anything, which already, I think it's a great concept for a short. It is actually adapted directly from my PCG comics called The Fig Newtons, which, don't really get read a lot. So, like, already I'm super biased towards this. I love that, like already. It does a great job of, of adapting the Fig and adapting the Fig Newtons. Like, it's just a series of, like, quick, fun skits, but it's just really well done for what it is. I'm going to give this one A tier. I'm going to put this one, I guess I'll put it, like, above Zuvak and Tutorial Bot, but below Poyencio. Okay, you guys, now stuff is getting real. We have Tutorial Bot Tech and Terror by Carmag 1. This is freaking epic. Tutorial Bot Tech and Terror is like a horror movie starring Tutorial Bot, and it borrows a lot from like these two games, My Robot Tutor School Bot from the Second Dimension and My Robot Tutor School Bot from the Third Dimension. It borrows a lot from them, but does something totally new, brilliant concept, of doing a horror movie with Tutorial Bot. I never would have thought of it, but it makes so much sense. They clearly had a lot of fun doing it. Like, Carmag got some friends involved filming it as well. It feels like, a fun little, like, horror movie. I thought it was brilliantly done. And, I wish we could see more PCG movies like this in the PCG community, because this is just freaking incredible. I'm going to give this one S tier. This is really, really solid. In fact, I'm gonna put it, like, I'm gonna put it up here. I think it's a really, really, really solid concept for a PCG movie. Next up, we got What If PCGs Turned Into a Business by Salmon the Fish PCG. Once again, what a freaking brilliant concept. Like, every single one of, Salmon's movies is like a genius concept. Super well executed. Like, it's emotional. It makes you think about the real future. Like, it's like what an interesting idea, and like tackling real issues in that way, but in like a fun, farcical way. Cause like, I don't know, like it was just really well done. I'm not gonna give it S tier just because I feel like it could have used a few more scenes. Like, you could have fleshed or like explored the concept a little bit more. So I think I'm gonna put it high on A tier because it was just really, really well done. I'm thinking I'll put it above Zuvak Origins. Yeah, I think I'll put it right there. I think that's a good spot for it. And finally, we've got Tragic Future, another freaking genius concept from Salmon the Fish PCG, like showing like what if, like the future can hold great things, but it could also hold tragedies, and showing like a possible future of like all our favorite PCG characters broken and like destroyed. Like, wow, what a gut punch. You know, you don't see it coming, and you know, but it's just so effective. It's so well done. I'm gonna give this one S tier. Just a freaking brilliant concept. So yeah.